All right, I have some updates for you guys. If you haven't seen part one of my George Zinn video, I recommend you go watch that either before or after this video. I alluded to that he was in a podcast probably about 4 to 5 years ago with someone who I had reached out to. On all of his platforms, he had disabled the podcast. You couldn't click on it, you couldn't listen to it, but you could see that it was there. He read my message, left me on read, and went and deleted every single website that he could find it on. So it no longer even shows up that it was a thing. And I made it my life mission for a few days to try to find any or most of that podcast, and I did. So we are going to go ahead and play it in here. I will probably include it in my part two video. If not, I at least wanted to get it up in here so people can see what was said. It's super interesting. What I do know about him is that his name is Spencer Stokes. He is a Republican from Utah. George Zinn was heavily involved in the Republican community in Utah. It seemed like everybody was very friendly, very chummy. I am surprised that Spencer did not reach out at all back. Like I said, everybody could see that it was there. He has ties to him, and he just chose to not address it. So we're going to go ahead and listen to that. But before we do, a little bit of a side note and completely off topic, but I think pretty important. If you were around watching the Take Care of Mya trial, that happened about a year ago, and Mya and her family, they were suing the hospital, the children's hospital that she was at. They basically isolated her. A whole bunch of nurses and doctors all were not following legal routes of how things should be done with Mya, and this went on for such a long time that it was the number one reason why her mom took her own life. So it was a big, upsetting trial. It was really hard to get through some of this. The Florida judge just overturned the ruling. The jury sided with Mya on everything, and she was awarded a whopping $250 million. Of course, the Children's Hospital and anybody involved, they were in an uproar. So maybe I shouldn't be surprised, but I am a little bit. Florida judge overturned it, said that they are not liable for that much, and basically said that they're canceling this, but if you would like to do a new trial, you may. They are going to. Mya's family has reached out to an attorney, I believe the same attorney, and they have put out there that they are going to fight for this. And yeah, they're going to have a second trial, which if you watch the first one, it was so hard and emotional. And her brother, too. I mean, it was just crying every day in court, really upsetting stuff. And I was a little surprised that they're willing to go through it again, but they feel adamant that everybody who is involved in this needs to pay, and they shouldn't have an overturn and have to not pay that amount of money. So we will be keeping tabs on it. Let's go back and see George Zinn's podcast and let me know what you think.
I was born in Athens, Greece.
Were you really?
Yeah, I was adopted when I was a year and a half, so I'm actually a naturalized citizen.
Did you grow up in Far West then when you...
No, I grew up I grew up on the other side of Ogden High.
Okay. So north side of Ogden High?
Just on the other corner on Maryland Street.
You grew up LDS, right?
Yeah.
And but didn't go to college?
I did, yeah.
Okay,
I went to the I consider myself an alumni. I mean,
what did you major in? What was your major?
I started out in philosophy not philosophy, but psychology, I think, because it was interesting and I thought it was good. I did well in high school with it. Decided, well, it was a little different in college, and so I got on into other things, and I think I went into journalism or something because I like to write.
How long did you do that?
I was in there
stay in college?
I was in there for a couple of years, and it was a little bit too stressful for me, and I just, everybody wanted to plug all this information into my head, and college just wasn't for me. So I took in maybe 2 years and then decided, well,
Did you go on a mission?
Yeah, I went to Virginia.
Virginia.
Yeah.
What mission in Virginia? Not
Virginia,
Roanoke or the
Virginia Roanoke mission at the time.
Really? But you've been
But I'd go
to
anyway.
every national convention.
I've been to at least 10. But I couldn't, it's interesting. I usually could get into most of the, I could talk one of the delegates into a credential, and they'd let me in.
You've been on the floor of more conventions than most Republicans will in their lifetime.
Oh, yeah.
Who's the most famous person you've got on your?
Now that's a interesting question.
Okay,
I got a lot of interesting people.
Okay.
I had to go to do my thing in the men's room.
Yeah. Okay.
And I thought, well, and I go in and there's Dan Quell in the urinal next to me. I go, holy smokes, here's the vice president. And I thought, well, why wouldn't Secret Service block that thing? I thought, wouldn't that be interesting that they let people walk right in?
So you walked through the Capitol, paid your respects to Ronald Reagan when he was laying in state.
Yeah, and they had everything roped off for security reasons. You could only get so far because of everybody walking through that were VIPs. And
right.
We were sitting next to the cathedral the whole time, and when they came out, I bumped into Henry Kissinger.
No kidding.
I says, I bumped into Al Gore. I said, wow, I'm like a kid in a candy store. Here I am bumping into all these guys.
What president did you meet? I mean,
Ronald
Reagan was dead.
No, I met Reagan when he came to Hooper.
So Reagan, you met him in Hooper.
I met him in Hooper. We had sack lunches that day. It was fun. Yeah.
That's crazy. But when was it you just decided, I'm going to start going to everything? Was it?
I don't know, when my mom kicked me out of the house and wouldn't let me in,
So mom.
No, that's a joke. You got to know that I'm.
I mean,
I don't answer questions. I just lollygag around.
Well, so.